Today we'll discuss about microservice interview question. So what all are the microservice interview questions interviewer will ask. These all are the top 21 microservice interview question, which is very commonly used for this Spring Boot with microservice development. So the first question is, what is microservice? Why we use microservice? What all are the advantage and disadvantage of microservice? Now the next question is, what all are the benefit of microservice architecture? What all are the benefits while we are using the microservice based architectures? The next question is, what is drawback of microservice? When to use and when to not use the microservice? So there is some advantage, disadvantage, drawback of microservice, why we can't use and why we use. The next question is, what is the difference between a Spring Cloud project we use to development of microservice based Java application? So what all are the different Spring Cloud project where we use to develop our microservice based projects and all. The next question is, explain the term a Spring Boot and a Spring Cloud in the context in microservice. The next question is, what is the service registry and how service discovered in microservice? What all are those service registry and how we will use for the discovery in microservice? The next question is, when do we set the value of two properties to false in application.property file? So we have a Eureka client registry with Eureka as a false and Eureka client fetch registry as a false. So when do we set this value of two property to false in the application.property file? Now the next question is, what is fin or open fin and where do we use it? What is a fin or open fin and where do we use it? The next question is, what is a Spring Cloud config server and why do we use it? A Spring Cloud config server. When to use a Spring Cloud config server? Why we are using a Spring Cloud config server? The next question is, what is a Spring Cloud config client? Why we are using a Spring Cloud config client? When to use a Spring Cloud config client and all. The next question is, what if same key is present at microservice configuration file and the config server with the different value? The next question is, what is a Spring Boot actuators? When to use a Spring Boot actuators? The next question is, what is a refreshed scope? When to use refreshed scope? Why we are using refreshed scope? The next question is, what is a Spring Cloud gateway? Why we are using a Spring Cloud gateway? The next question is, what is an API gateway? The next question is, why do we need API gateway? When to use API gateway? What are the API gateway we are using? The next question is, what is the advantage of API gateway? The next question is, what is the advantage of disadvantage of API gateway? So there will be some possibility where we will get a API gateway advantage, disadvantage, when to use API gateway, when to not use API gateway and all. Now the next question is, why do we need API gateway and how we will use advantage, disadvantage and all. The next question is, what is fault tolerance in microservice? When to use fault tolerance? Why we are using fault tolerance and all. The next question is, which tools do you use for fault tolerance in microservice? The next question is, what is common challenges in deploying and managing microservice in production environment? So what all are the common challenges in deploying and managing microservices in production environment? So these all are the microservice top 20 microservice interview questions which is commonly used in interview. Yeah, thank you.